It's an answer to a question. Why are people homeless in LA? And the most common answer that we've received over the years is because it's sunny in LA, because of the weather. Because people like to come here and to move for the warm weather. And it's not true. It is, people come here for opportunity. People come here for jobs. People come here for the entertainment industry because they want to be rich and famous. People come here because they want to be a doctor or a lawyer or a real estate agent or whatever it is that you want to be in this world. LA has an opportunity for everybody. They come here to live out their dreams. That's what people come into LA for. The weather is nice. People come here on vacation because of the weather, sure. But they have the luxury of going on and turning on the air conditioner, and they have the luxury of turning on the water and having all this water and this resource where people on Skid Row have no running water. There's like only a few bathrooms for 7,000 unsheltered people or more people than that on any given day. And there's no air conditioning. There's no water. There's nowhere to go to the bathroom, you know? So why should people come to this show? Well, first of all, because it is a really fun musical. Even if you don't like musicals, it's really fun because it's totally different than anything you've ever seen. I promise. This is very different. In grad school, I was reading about 14 plays a week. 14 plays a week. That's a lot of plays. That's almost 2 plays a day. That's a lot of reading. I read hundreds of plays, hundreds and hundreds of plays throughout grad school. I was in grad school for 3 years, took double credits every semester. And I read a lot of plays. And trust me when I tell you, I did not like the standard well-made play. I did not. I did not like all of the musical reviews. I did not like musicals that, where the music didn't drive the dialogue or the storyline. I love music, but I just didn't always particularly care for the music that was constructed for musicals. And I really wanted to do something edgy and different that was written unlike anything else. And what I found was that female playwrights break the standard form a lot. They reject the standard canon and they write in a way that is comfortable for them. And I loved it. And honestly, I looked at a lot of different female playwrights and I went, wow, this is what I want to do. I want to learn all the rules and then break them. And so if you want to see something that's new and original and that's really different, that's really good, that's going to make you laugh and it's going to make you feel and it's going to make you think, and it's about the #1 issue in Los Angeles, a humanitarian crisis, homelessness, that's honoring people that are in poverty and suffering from homelessness. It's honoring them. If you want, take it from me, as a person that was in it for over 9 years of my life, starting as a kid and getting out after the military, I promise you, it's honoring people. If you want to see something really meaningful and fun, man, you got a cheap date. You can go come and see the show at the Hudson from June 3rd to June 24th. We've got 7 performances. We've got Friday, Saturday nights, and then Sunday on Father's Day. So there's plenty of time. Doesn't have to interfere with your work schedule whatsoever. You can come and see a show on your off time. It's so much fun. I highly recommend, for all of those reasons, I recommend that people come and see the show. Hi, and welcome to Because It's Sunny in LA, especially on Skid Row, a landmark musical addressing the systemic homelessness humanitarian crisis in Los Angeles and in every major city in America. My name is Thaddeus Nagey. I am the executive producer, playwright, and co-composer of this musical. And for more information, you can go to www.becauseit'ssunny.com and listen to this wonderful interview and conversation about our show. This whole show started from a poem about veterans receiving human remains from overseas and the impact that has and the trauma that has on veterans during wartime and coming back home. And it stemmed from a poem that I wrote emulating Shakespeare's pentameter, which is basically 10 syllables per line, 5 syllables, or 10 syllables split in half into 2 feet. So 5 syllables here, 5 syllables there. And I tried to emulate that type of writing by creating this poem that I put in this play, and it started from a poem. And who would have known that just starting from a poem that you have a full-length musical, with more than 7 songs and almost 100 minutes of showtime. I mean, it's just incredible. So this play is very impactful, and if you don't believe me, come see the show. It's impacted a lot of people's lives already, and it hasn't even premiered. Really became a playwright in grad school in say about like 2017. I started realizing how there was just all this awful material and content on television and streaming, and it was just really bad. And none of it was addressing issues that mattered to me. And, it was just, most of it was really, I mean, there's occasional show or two that I really enjoyed, love Game of Thrones, but, I really, really felt like humanity was missing the point. And I thought that a lot of the writing was just awful. So I started taking playwriting classes in this grad school program for theater. And ultimately I wanted to become a teacher, and that was what I went there for. And I couldn't, they didn't have any playwriting classes in the theater department. So I had to go to the English department, but I really wanted to learn how to write. Because I was just seeing so much awful material out there. And then a staggering statistic came around. I realized that this was back in 2018, over 53,000 students were homeless in the California State University system. And I then realized I'm not the only one, that I am amongst tens of thousands of young people that are in college that are struggling, that can't make it, and nobody's really addressing this issue. Really nobody. I mean, it's like really, at the time, people were afraid of the issue, and it was stigmatized, and people were afraid to say anything because they were afraid to lose opportunities. They're afraid people look down on them, because not just in Los Angeles culture, but in American culture, we look down upon people that are less fortunate. We really do. And so I had to look at this, and I couldn't just do nothing. So I started writing about 3 issues. I started writing about climate change because I felt that that was the #1 impact on the planet, climate change and pollution. And so I wrote a play called Straw Buried Fields Forever. It's a musical about how single-use plastics are destroying the planet. And I did a nationwide speaking tour on that at academic conferences. And I also I started writing a play called Because It's Sunny in L.A., especially on Skid Row. And that is I'm now producing that at the Hudson. It'll go from June 3rd to June 24th, 7 performances for now. It's at a really amazing premium venue, 99-seater, right on Santa Monica Boulevard, in the heart of Hollywood on Theater Row. It is the best venue that you could possibly get. We've got the best, they've got 3 theaters. We've got the best one. We've got the best time slots in June. And we're really excited. We've got a really amazing, diverse cast. And this show addresses the humanitarian crisis of homelessness in Los Angeles, but not just LA. Yeah, the story's based in LA, but we have this in every major city in America. And people wonder why. Why do we have such a massive homelessness problem in one of the richest countries in the world? And why do poorer countries have less of a problem? And this is a systemic issue that, for the most part, is not the common person's fault. It is a systemic issue, and a myriad of reasons why. And I always point to, it's easy to start: low wages, high rent. But even when there's places where there's not high rent, there's a myriad of reasons why, whether it's how public schools are funded, no mental health care system in America, poor physical health care system in America that's not accessible to the normal person, low wages, even sexism and racism. It's all very systemic. And a lot of people point to all the wrong reasons. And the reason why it's called Because It's Sunny in L.A., especially on Skid Row, is because, well, the #1 common misconceptions is that people move to Los Angeles and become homeless because of the weather, because it's sunny in LA. And that is exactly the problem with our culture, is that people are blaming it on the weather. They think that people move here because of the weather and become homeless. And it is not true. People come here to go on vacation because of the weather. But let me tell you, the very notion that people come here for the weather and the reason why people are homeless is because people come here for the weather because it's sunny in LA is false. Because you have the privilege of going into your apartment and turning on the air conditioner. And people on Skid Row, I mean, listen, if people are homeless because it's sunny in LA, then it must be really sunny on Skid Row. Like really, really, really sunny, because we have the largest concentration of homelessness in the country on Skid Row in a 2.71 square mile radius. And that is the problem, is that people really don't understand the issue. But let's just say it were true. Let's just say, oh yeah, people come here because of the weather and they become homeless. Well, I think it's about approximately 86% of the people that are homeless in LA are actually from here or have lived here for over 20 years. So the statistics say different. The statistics combat the whole weather notion, but let's just say it were true. If it were true, let's just hypothetically say it were true, which it's not. What does that do? Blaming it on the weather, how is that going to solve anything? What are we going to do? Make the weather cooler? I mean, it's a way of basically just accepting it and not processing the issue and pushing it aside and allowing the compounding issues to continue to compound. And so, being in the entertainment industry for so many years, for most of my life, and feeling helpless and going through it myself for over 9 years of my personal life, and realizing how it's affecting, 33% of approximately 30, according to government statistics, approximately 33% of all homeless in LA are African American, almost 40% are Latinx. And how is it fair that over 70% of the population are just two minority groups? How is that fair? How is that systemically fair? Considering also that the African American population is a very small percent of the entire population of LA. It is one of the smallest groups of people. And yet they are affected the most. How is this fair to the people that I love and care about? Half my family is Latinx. How is this fair to my family? How is it fair to veterans? Veterans that are caught in a system that doesn't care about them. And I just had to do something about it. So I started writing this play, and I didn't tell anybody. I just started writing this play because it mattered to me, because I wanted to make a difference. And I was like, I don't know how I can make a difference in the world, but being a writer and being theater is engaging. It's a community. It's a form of community engagement. It's how people connect. I mean, we used to go out as a family or with friends and go to a show. And there's live music where there's live interaction. It's visceral. It's in front of you. How can you not pay attention? It's engaging. It's not like watching a movie where it's passive. You watch it for 2 hours, you move on with your life. When you go to a theater production, you remember that for the rest of your life. It makes an impact, and it has an intermission. So people talk about the play in between. People are talking to each other. They're engaging with the subject matter. They're asking each other what each other thought, what they felt about it. That's theater. Theater is a form of community engagement. And since the pandemic, we've lost that tremendously. We've lost that form of community engagement, that excitement about everybody packing up and piling in the car and carpooling and going together to go see a show and having it be an event. Same with concerts. I mean, concerts very similar, like people are forgetting to go out and engage and be a part of a show. But theater is even more engaging and even more immersive, because people are talking to you on a stage. People are trying to interact and engage. And so theater is just a really great, meaningful way to engage with a community. It's a community effort. And everybody, it takes, in a concert, you have the musicians and you have the production staff. But in theater, you have many, many different departments that are coordinating together. It takes a community to put on a show, and people from all different types of skill sets, artists, musicians, actors, writers, directors, um, you know, all kinds of promoters, marketing, publicists. Like, there's a whole myriad of people and jobs that are created because of theater. And the goal here was to create a theater piece that was engaging, that really talked about the number one issue facing Los Angeles right now. The number one issue that is a humanitarian crisis, not just in LA, but in every city, every single major city in America. And that is homelessness and poverty, and how we are addressing it as a culture. Because you can look at the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and say, yeah, what a wonderful piece of legislation. They removed all these obstacles and changed the law so that things would be fair for everybody. But the truth is that nothing changed. You can remove the law, you can remove the obstacles, you can change the law, you can even elect officials that will do that for you. But the reality is that nothing will change until we change as a community, until we change as a culture. And isn't it embarrassing that I'm originally from San Diego? I grew up part of my life in San Francisco. Both have massive homelessness problems. And I've experienced this most of my life. But LA, I've lived here for over a decade. And LA has one of the worst, well, it has the worst problem in the country. We overtook New York. And how embarrassing is that our culture is not really understanding why people are falling into homelessness. So I wrote this play with the idea that everybody that would be performing in the play would have had some sort of experience with homelessness or housing insecurity in their lives. And that's the way I've kept it all the way through. So everybody in our equity cast, it's a live equity musical, everybody in our cast that is a performer, including the musicians, have experienced some sort of housing insecurity or homelessness in their life. That's what we all have in common. So even the professional ones that you've seen on TV that have had prolific careers, many people, it wasn't hard to cast. It wasn't hard to find people, because LA is full of people that are hiding it. And they're embarrassed to tell people, hey, I was homeless too. And why? Why is that? And everybody has a unique story. And I don't like to tell people stories for them, but what I wanted to do was create a piece that basically talked about stuff that has either been in the news, or mostly my own personal experience of things that have happened to me or people that I know. Things that aren't private, but just out there, and real stuff. So just about everything in the play, although it is dramatized, is real. The most absurd things in the play are real. And that's what makes this play unique and special, is that I spent 4 years, over 4 years, writing this play. And I am a composer, so I've helped write the music as well with Tim. And we spent, a very long time creating this project, because we wanted this project to be special and unique and good. We didn't want it to be just another crappy homeless play. We didn't want it to be mediocre. We wanted it to move people. We wanted it to make people think and feel. And I didn't want to create a project that told people what to think and feel. I just wanted to inform people, enlighten people, open up people's hearts and minds through song, music, and dialogue and dance, and really get people to open up, because I acknowledge the fact that the issue of homelessness and poverty is a plague in our city. It's hurting people. It's killing, approximately 1,800 people a year in our city, in the city of Los Angeles. Over 70,000 counted by the Los Angeles Homelessness Services Authority, LAHSA. Almost 70,000 people have been counted. That, never mind the uncounted ones that are suffering from homelessness and poverty. This is an absurd number. Over 172,000 counted in the state of California. Over 10,000 unsheltered, unaccompanied minors, children. These people, it's not their fault. And we can talk about all those ways, but we try to touch on a lot of the subjects in the play, and it's in such a way that it doesn't have to be stressful. You can just, you don't have to think that you can fix it all yourself. But what is really interesting is that you don't have to do much to fix this problem. This problem is actually solvable with a lot of community engagement and effort. This problem is systemic. So if we change the way we do business in our system, this problem is very solvable. It can go away for the most part. And Commonwealth countries experience 80% less homelessness than we do. You know, we have a problem in the United States that we need to acknowledge. And so there is a sense of there is a sense of activism and duty here as a citizen, but you don't have to do much. You just got to show up and do little things here and there. And if everybody did that, the problem would absolutely curb itself. And so we are giving people an opportunity to show up to our show and enjoy a live equity musical and have fun with it. You know, have fun, enjoy the music, enjoy the show, and learn about what's really going on. And that it's not because it's sunny in LA. It's really because of a lot of other issues that nobody really, even people closest to the issues of homelessness and poverty, don't even understand. And so we spent 4 years really researching why these issues exist, and really wanting to not just create an empathetic piece, but just really just want people to really understand what the real issues are. And so I think you know, people like Karen Bass are in a unique situation. You know, I don't like to talk about politics because really this is a nonpartisan issue. This is something that it affects everybody, whether you know what political party you're with, or if you have a small business or a large business, or if you have a family member that's connected to homelessness or not. You know, so the show is the show. That's kind of how I got into the industry. That's how I started writing the play. And in 2019, I really didn't get a lot of support for writing this play. I just wanted people to kind of understand what's going on. So I submitted an earlier version of the play to the Kennedy Center, the Kennedy Center College Theater Festival, and put it into the National Playwriting Competition for the Kennedy Center in my last semester in grad school, and it was picked, and they invited me personally, aside from the department and the Kennedy Center. They invited me to do a staged reading, and they produced it, and it wasn't the whole play, but it was just a scene, and I didn't know walking in that I had won Best Play already. So I got an award for Best Play for the entire region, which includes California, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, Hawaii, Guam, and I think one other state. And it was picked out of almost 1,000 plays, over 900 plays, as Best Play. So then I realized, oh, maybe I'm onto something. You know, I learned how to write now, and I've got a whole bunch of plays under my arsenal. I've got like 8 other plays sitting on the shelf, and maybe I should do something with this. So I continued to workshop it through the pandemic. And then last year I decided, you know, I'm just going to produce this. Who else is going to talk about this issue? Who else is going to do this? I've got this really amazing play that nobody really knows about, doesn't have a lot of support. And I thought, you know, I'm just going to do this. And if people get upset with me for trying to address these issues, so be it. Because people don't understand the issues, people get upset about it. But the reality is, if you know me and you know the people working on it and you've read the play, it truly is remarkable. It is a landmark play. And I don't mean that with a grain of salt. I really mean that because we really put a lot of time and energy and resources into creating this piece. We wanted it to be good. So we made sure that it was good. And so we workshopped it with dozens of actors. We were very well prepared at the beginning of this year to say, yeah, this needs to be done. And then I brought on Caressa McElhaney, and she is a phenomenal director who has been directing theater in Los Angeles for decades. She's just directed over 40 theater productions. She's been on television as an actor. She's done a lot of productions as an actor in theater. She does voiceover work. She is very talented, and she also cares about the issue. And she is an amazing person, an amazing human being. So brought on her on, and then I brought Garth Herberg, who's the musical director, and um, he has Spectrum Laboratories, and what he does is he teaches acting classes and music to people on the spectrum that are neurodivergent, and he is an amazing human being. Um, and then, I just kept continued to bring on these remarkable human beings. I mean, I put in ads in New York and LA online for these jobs, and I got dozens and dozens of people from all over the world. It was amazing. I got interest to direct the show from people from Seattle, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, New York, New York, New York, multiple people from New York, Jerusalem, Syria, Sweden, San Diego, Orange County, people all over from all over LA, all over the world. And I had to go through dozens of applications. And there was one point I was talking to Tim, the other composer, and I said, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. Like, there's so much interest in the show. I just put the word out and everybody's like, yes, this is what we need. And so I got really lucky because Caressa was a local. Just like the biggest blessing. People, I was thinking, people were offering to do the show for free. They were offering to come from New York to do it for free, to musically direct or direct. And I said, no, I got to pay you, man. Like, this is what it's all about. It's about lifting people up. It's about creating jobs. And it's about really addressing a meaningful issue and having fun. This is musical theater. So I said, I got to hire a local. This is really important to hire a local. So I hired Caressa McElhaney, and she is an amazing director. She's got a lot of experience. She's very headstrong, and she has great vision. And she has been wonderful and she helped cast the show. She did most of the casting. I was just there for support. And, my instructions were, we need to cast people that are representative of this issue in Los Angeles. And we need to cast people that have experienced some sort of homelessness or housing insecurity in their lives. That was really my criteria. Is I really wanted a diverse cast. I wanted a representative of what was really going on. And I wanted to provide opportunities for people to have a voice on a bigger platform. And the Hudson Theatre really does care about issues of homelessness and poverty, and they've had a number of productions. Homeward LA, I think, was one of those. They housed a production called, I think, Homeward LA. They've had a number of theater productions at their company, at their space that address the issues of homelessness, but they've never had anything like ours because ours is a live equity musical. So it's very different than anything else going on right now. And I really mean that. You will never be able to judge a book by its cover until you read the book. And when you come and see the show, you're going to see how amazing our cast is. Our cast is incredible. We have such amazing performers. Got 2 drummers and a cast of 7. And it is just, I just can't praise these performers enough. These performers are so talented. In my wildest dreams, I would have never believed that we could have gotten such talented performers who had all experienced some sort of homelessness or housing insecurity in their lives. Like, this is amazing. Like, we've got the amazing singers and great dancers and wonderful storytellers and personalities, and they're all very different. We have mixed people that are performing on Skid Row, that live on Skid Row right now, with live equity performers that are unionized, that have done an incredible body of work. So we've got the mixture of Skid Row experience and union experience combined, addressing a really important issue. But man, is this book fun. Anybody that comes to see the show, they're going to be engaged because it's basically constructed in 10-minute vignettes. I did this on purpose because I didn't want people to lose engagement. So every scene is more or less 10 minutes, and every scene is very engaging. And I really wanted to make sure that people stayed engaged all the way through. I brought my 90-year-old grandfather in for the stage readings at the Hudson. And he's 90, he falls asleep, no matter how good it is. He did not fall asleep. He was wide awake and engaged the entire time and got even more engaged towards the end. In fact, it's a dark comedic immersive musical, but people were crying towards the later part and people were in tears. And I was just like, is this for real? This is supposed to be fun. Like people were crying. And, Caressa, the director, she was just kind of perturbed. She's like, during the talk back, she's like, did anybody get that this was a dark comedic musical? And everybody nodded their head. Yes, we got it. It was funny, but it pulls on your heartstrings. Some of the material is designed to make you feel. We worked really hard to make sure that people really understood the compassionate part. Everything stems from a base level of compassion. You can teach people stuff all day long and write expository stuff, which everybody loves to do in LA, but you can feed people information and teach people things, but if you don't have the ability to feel something and be compassionate about it, what's going to move you to action? What's going to move you to doing a small thing in your community that really makes a difference? Without even a lot of effort, really. So we kind of wanted to do a 360 with this production. We wanted to create a really fun musical piece of engagement, a great piece of theater, really quality piece of theater, but we also wanted to also bring in professional, amazing, incredibly experienced performers, and then also do community engagement. So we have 3 talkbacks, the June 3rd, the 17th, and the 18th, Father's Day. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring in local organizations that are fighting to alleviate poverty and homelessness in Los Angeles. That's what they do every day with their lives. They're nonprofit organizations, and we're going to bring them in, and we're going to create a conversation with the audience, and then we're going to help them raise a little bit of money and just offer people an opportunity to be involved in a local organization in their community. And there's so many organizations. You don't even have to give money necessarily. That always helps, but there's so many ways to be involved. And that's the cultural aspect. We need to stop stepping over homeless people on the streets. We need to stop ignoring them. We need to start creating conversations. If I filled a room with 99 people in a theater and I asked them, how many people that were homeless did you talk to today? How many people did you just say hello to? I'd be lucky if one person raised their hand. I'd be lucky if 2 people raised their hand. Because the reality is that as a culture, we are avoiding this issue. We don't want to deal with it because it's uncomfortable and we don't know what to do. And that's totally valid. All of that is valid. But I really want to create a sense of community. I really want to create a sense of understanding and why people are suffering. And I really want people to, engage more and figure this out, because not only is it a compounding problem now, and it's almost doubled since the pandemic, but the Olympics are coming. And that sounds great and all to a lot of people, and people are going to make a lot of money off the Olympics. But the last time the Olympics came in the 1980s was a horrible, horrible thing for people that were in poverty, and they got displaced and moved, and people died. Lots of people died. And that is the nature of the systemic nature of the Olympics coming, is that the city's going to flush out everybody that's homeless from the downtown area, and they're going to be forced to relocate. And during that process, people are going to get tickets. They're going to be arrested. They are going to die, and they are going to suffer severe hardship. And so prior to that, we need to kind of take a look at, I know the political entities are doing their best, but really it's not their responsibility. It's ours as a community and as a culture. If we really want things to change, we have to look at it. So the Olympics are coming. The show is just there to create a conversation. It's there to get people involved and interested, but it's also here to entertain, man. We've created this phenomenal show that's really exciting and really good. It's going to make you laugh. It's going to make you cry. And you're going to want to come back for more. You're going to want to tell your friends. Really, really true. This is, not a Fringe production, and I support all of my Fringe artists, but this is something we've been really working hard on for many, many years. And it's something that we really want people to enjoy and love. And it will move on. It will move on. After the Hudson, the plan is to bring it to other major cities in America, and just change the names of the places. That's really it, and the statistics, because you can plug and play in every major city in America, and this play is relevant. It's really incredible how relevant it is and how it was constructed, because this is how we made it. So, it's really been a long road. It's a long answer, but it's a long road, and it's a really meaningful play to every single person that's involved. And once people get involved in this play, it's like they don't want to leave. When we did the stage readings, it was really amazing. Like, I was really surprised, because I thought people would want to leave as soon as the stage reading was over. Normally people want to get on with their lives. I kid you not, almost every single person there stayed and was engaged and did not want to leave. And I was like, wow, this is going better than I thought. I thought people would just leave when it was done. And no, people wanted to give feedback. People wanted to ask questions. People really interested in not just what the show was about, but the topic. Because really people just don't understand the topic. And so as an academic, I'm able to answer questions about homelessness that maybe a lot of people wouldn't be able to answer. As an academic, having a master's degree and really studying the systemic nature of homelessness and poverty and how it affects our system, but also as a playwright, and as a producer and as an actor in the show, I am able to answer a lot of questions about, the stories and what happened and why. The more you dig in every layer of each story that we present in our play, in every scene, the more you dig, the more meaning you'll find. The more you think about it, the more you realize, oh, that's why this is so. This is what we need to do. Oh, I get it. This is why they're feeling or saying this. So it's really, there's many layers throughout the play. And we created that way to design to make people think and feel, not to tell them what to do, not to tell them what to think or feel, but just to kind of think and feel on their own and decide how they want to help their own communities and how they want to, and so, theater, for me, that's what I know. This is how I know to create a conversation. This is what I know on how to create civic engagement. This is what I know. I'm a storyteller. And, the better I can tell a story, the more meaningful it is. And the more opportunities I can create for other people to tell their stories and give them a platform for their voices is really important. So, going forward, there's going to be a lot more engagement with the actors. And, we're just getting into rehearsals right now. The show starts in June. So we've got a few weeks to iron everything out. And you're going to probably see a lot of press releases and news stories and people just kind of grabbing onto it, because it's really an issue people care about. Homelessness is an issue, but also, it's theater, man. We don't have a lot of it. Half the theater companies shut down. Theater companies like Cornerstone, really great, prolific theater company that talks about amazing things, tells amazing stories about civic issues, doesn't even have a place anymore. A lot of the theater companies shut down during the pandemic and aren't coming back. So now is the perfect time to create a really positive piece of engagement through theater, create jobs, and let people know theater is back, that we aren't quitting, and that you can come and see amazing new shows that are totally original and totally new in June, all along Theater Row. And theater is back, and we're here to present it to you. We're here to present meaningful stories that matter, that are fun and engaging and exciting, and worth twice as much of what you pay. You know, if you pay $30 for a show, you're going to get a $60 show, because we really, really want to make sure that you know, you're getting your money's worth. You know, so I feel like we've undervalued our show, because we really are comparable to like a regional theater piece, like Center Theater Group or Pasadena Playhouse, or larger equity shows. We are at the Hudson, which is well known for putting on premium shows, but we wanted to keep our ticket prices lower because we wanted people to be able to afford to come and see them. And so when people buy a ticket for our show, we give senior veterans and seniors, veterans, and students discounts. But if people want to come and see our show, and they want to, let's say they want to spend $60, which is what you would pay for a musical like ours at like Center Theater Group or Pasadena Playhouse. So they want to pay $60. What we'll do is we'll set aside an additional ticket for somebody that has experienced homelessness in their life. And trust me, not a problem. I know plenty of really amazing people that are experiencing homelessness right now with the writer's strike. WGA is on strike. People that during the pandemic that lost their jobs as teachers, professors, in theater and entertainment. People that lost their jobs because they were in television and couldn't make it because the industry's shut down. I know plenty of people that are living out of their cars and don't want to tell anybody, that are homeless. I know people on Skid Row that are artists that are homeless that would love to come and see the show, and they can't afford it. They can't afford $30. They can't swing it. So if somebody, we have an opportunity, you know, with a code D30 and D35, if you want to purchase a ticket for 60 or 75, or I'm sorry, 60 or 70 bucks, you can purchase a ticket, and we'll give a ticket at no cost, set aside a ticket for somebody that is currently experiencing homelessness, that just wants to come and enjoy a show that's representative about an issue that they really care about. And we'll give them VIP treatment. We'll give them a special program, and we'll treat them like a special guest. So we're not just doing a community engagement. We're trying to get people in that care about the issue, create a conversation. People that have been in shows that you watched are experiencing homelessness right now. Famous people. People are suffering right now, and it's a really big issue in LA. So we really want to just give opportunities to people and kind of spread awareness, and you know, have people come and see an amazing show. I'm avoiding talking about the show too much because I don't want to give it away, but it's really fun, man. There's lots of music and song and dance and comedy and in every scene. And we've got such a diverse, amazing cast. So yeah, that's the long answer. The way it became an immersive musical was, first of all, I know a lot of musicians are going to fight with me about whether it's a musical or not. It's got 7 solid songs in it. It's about 95 minutes. And in addition, there's drumming that drives the dialogue all throughout. So the drummers are almost a part of the show. They drive the dialogue. They're like the heartbeat and the soul of the show. Without the drummers, you know, it just wouldn't be the same. The drummers are an integral part of Skid Row. It is the primary instrument that people use on Skid Row to cope and to get through difficult times. So drumming is super important and a part of the Skid Row culture. People that are homeless on Skid Row do a lot of drumming. And so it's very representative. And so Ray Lewis and our other drummer they're going to be on stage driving the dialogue throughout. Aside from the 7 songs that we've written, there are also tiny little pieces of music that have been composed to accentuate the dialogue. Now, all of the music absolutely drives the dialogue and drives the story. That's really important. And I think in a musical, that's what music should do, is it should drive the storyline, it's drive the dialogue. However, there are a lot of people, academics, who would argue and pick this apart, saying it's not really a musical because there's a lot of dialogue and storytelling. And yeah, and that's really important. I think creating stories and allowing people to decompress after a song and assimilate real human interaction is really important. And so if you really dissect it, it is a musical. But a lot of people will challenge and be probably really critical of the music because it is original. All of it is original music. So it's just kind of, people are definitely critical of music. And so I know there's going to be people that will be very critical of it. However, the people that have been critical of it have really enjoyed it. So it's kind of funny how people in the stage readings gave the feedback of more music. Please give us more music. I'm like, oh, okay. So we went back and we started writing more music and after the stage readings. So I think the musical portion and the drumming, I mean, when you are in the Hudson Backstage Theatre, it is a very wide stage. And the stage almost connects with the seating. So it's almost like you're like in it, And this play was designed to really be able to be put in any space, because reality is that people are homeless everywhere. They're homeless on street corners and in cars, and so if you wanted to do this play outside, totally doable. If you wanted to do it in a small venue, totally doable. If you wanted to do a massive, large production with an orchestra, totally doable. But the notion is that the drumming is engaging because you can feel the beat, you can feel the rhythm, you can feel the vibration, and you can feel it physically driving the dialogue. So that's really kind of immersive. The music makes it very engaging and immersive because it's right there. We did a combination of canned and live. All the singing is live. There is canned music because typically music on Skid Row is canned unless it's basic instruments like guitar and drums. Because people don't have anywhere to plug things in most of the time unless you're at a facility. You don't have the ability to plug in a piano, and a piano is too heavy to carry. So typically on Skid Row, the main instruments are your voice and drums, and then people do carry around guitars. Lot of vocal singers on Skid Row, and then in downtown LA artist community, in their arts district, a lot of singers. And so what we did was, for the music, we just kind of canned the piano. And because there's not a lot of space to put a piano, but also because in reality, when you're homeless, you don't really have access to that most of the time. So we really wanted to make it practical. If it was a guitar piece, we'd play the guitar live. If it's vocals, we're going to sing live, because this is what people that are homeless do, right? This is how we live. So so they're going to notice a combination of canned music and live music. All of the singing is live. All the harmonies are live. The guitar is live. And that's the nature of kind of bringing people in and making people physically feel the music. And it's so up close and personal. If the Hudson Backstage Theatre is so up close and personal that, it's got brick walls. You can't really hear the sounds outside of the brick walls. So everything is like contained. And then the immersive part is, honestly, giving the audience lines and interaction in one of the scenes. And, we're trying to kind of allocate those lines, not just to people that want to participate in the play, but also people that are members of Skid Row. So we're going to invite members of Skid Row to come in that didn't get cast in the play, and we're going to give them lines and participate in the show. So there's a way of just kind of engaging people and giving people a voice. And then the nature of interacting with the audience, going up and down the aisles. People don't expect that fourth wall to be broken. And when I talk about the fourth wall, the imaginary thing that's going on in front of you versus reality with the audience, in everyday life. People don't necessarily always feel comfortable with that imaginary line being broken, the fourth wall. But when that fourth wall is broken, it's shocking. And that's what we're doing on purpose. We're breaking the rules on purpose because we want to engage people. So heads will turn a little bit and people will be like, what's going on? Wait a minute, you're not supposed to do that. And that's the point. That's the point. If you feel uncomfortable in the show, it's probably on purpose. If you're laughing in the show, it's probably okay. And if you feel like you're laughing at something inappropriate, it's probably okay, because it is a comedy, right? we want people to laugh. We want people to feel in any sort of way based on the immersive experience that we're providing. Even when it's uncomfortable a little bit, we want people to engage because when people get engaged, they start to care, and then they start to think. And so we kind of put in these mechanisms all throughout the play that I've learned from theater practitioners from all over the world, including Commonwealth countries. I've put in these mechanisms into the play that consistently have proved to engage people and sometimes shock people. But it's honestly, everything is very tasteful. If there is something that is done that's really edgy, it's for a reason. And it's designed to make you think and feel. And so people can expect that. People can expect to be surprised when they come to the show. Well, first of all, I want to make a disclaimer. I am not claiming to have all the answers, and I'm not claiming to address everything in an hour and a half show. There's no way I can. And this is why we have the talkbacks, is because if people want to know more, I'm happy to point them to resources. That's something that I can do. I can point people to resources. So after they see the show, my hope is that, number one, they'll enjoy the show so much that they'll basically leave the show, and for the next few days, it will be buzzing in their brain. They'll be thinking about it off and on, and it'll move them enough to want to change the way they interact with people that are in poverty and in homelessness. I think the number one factor, obviously, is that we need, as a culture in the United States, this is automatic, it's built in. Even if you're a good person, honestly, it's built in. So it's hard to get out of this mentality that if you're poor, that you must have done something to deserve it. But if you're rich, you've done everything right, or you've done, for the most part, you've done things right in your life, and therefore you deserve it. We've got to get away from this mentality. This mentality has been going on for decades. The fact that we look at people that are less fortunate, we look down on them as if it's their fault. And the truth is that most people are born into it. And if you're not born into it, you'll easily get into it, because almost everybody in LA, the truth is one paycheck away from becoming homeless. And if you're in a situation where you're housing insecure, so easy to get into homelessness. And once you get into homelessness, it's hard to get out. Then you got to get back into housing insecurity. And then from housing insecurity, you got to get back into housing. And it's so easy to fall into that trap. And it's so hard to get out of it. So easy to fall in and hard to get out. It's like a big hole at a dump. It's hard to get out on your own. You need help. So this is what I would say. When you come and see this show, first and foremost, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you see that we've worked really hard to bring you an amazing show. We have every aspect of our show with the resources that we have is maximized. We've really designed the show in such a way that it's very meaningful. And we hope you really enjoy it. The second thing I would say is try to change the mindset into a more compassionate one. The next time you see somebody that's homeless and you have an opportunity, think of it as an opportunity. As long as it's safe, just go up to them and ask them how their day was, or ask them if you can buy them a drink. You don't have to give anybody money. You just have to basically figure out a way to uplift people in your community. That's a start. Changing the way you look at poverty and homelessness and people that are suffering is going to be a start. And then once we change the way we look at people that are less fortunate and just think of them as actual human beings rather than stepping over them, not caring if they're going to die or not, consider doing something in your community. I've got plenty of resources. I'm always happy to share resources, share information. There's plenty of organizations in your community that you can get involved in and make a difference, and you don't have to do much. If everybody just did something small, this problem would be over within a few years. It's very solvable. There's a lot of different factors that need to be involved, but one aspect is you as a person, as a citizen in your culture, changing the way you look at it. And so that's what I hope, is that I hope people leave the show just thinking about it off and on, and deciding that they want to shift the way they do business in their communities and start treating people like they're human beings again. They're not throwaways. These people, I know people that have been television stars that are currently in homelessness. You were watching them on TV. They're not worthless people. And that's the majority of people, is that the majority of people are really just suffering at the hands of a system that is not supportive. And we need, as human beings, as individuals, to all come together and acknowledge these people as human beings again and find ways to make their day better. The cool thing about this play, the really cool thing about this play is not just the diverse cast and the incredible talents that we have, you know, the singing and the dancing and the story and the dialogue and the music, and the drummers. The drummers are like the heartbeat and the soul of the show. They're in a few scenes and they drive the dialogue. I mentioned all that. That's great. That's wonderful. That's part of the show. But, you know, there's something interesting about using immersive theater that's not used a lot in Los Angeles and New York. Immersive theater is used, but it's not very common here in the United States. It's used a lot overseas in like Commonwealth countries like Canada and Australia and the UK and New Zealand, and you know, but in the United States we lack a lot of theater that deals with social justice, but also immersiveness. And the cool thing about the show is it's very interactive. So you know, you don't have to. When you come see the show, you don't have to participate. You can just be an observer. That's totally fine. But there will be people participating, and that's really interesting. And it surprises, right? So you're going to get it when you least expect it, when you don't know. And it's fun. So the cool thing about this show is that, you know, it's not just fun and exciting and you know, there's all these little elements that make it really cool and unique and different from any other show that you're going to see. Totally different, very engaging, 10-minute vignettes. You'll be engaged from beginning to end. But the performers and everybody working on the show, once they read the playbook and they see the music, honestly, every single person, every single one is like, wow, I'm really glad to be a part of the show. They're really excited about doing it. And it would be very difficult for me to convince somebody not to do it. Because once they get a hold of the material, they're like, I get it. I like this. I want to be a part of this. And that's what's exciting. So you're going to see that. The people, you know, the people involved in the show are just very excited to bring this to the stage because it's never been done before. It's never been done before. This is not a revival. This is brand new and original. And they're excited to bring it. More excited than me. And that's what's really cool, man, is that they're very, very happy to do this project. And you're going to see that on stage. It's like making food, you know? When you're a chef, there's nothing better when it's made and served with love. And that is what's cool about this show. My name is Thaddeus Nagey. I am the executive producer, playwright, and co-composer of Because It's Sunny in L.A., live at the Hudson Theatre from June 3rd to June 24th, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Our website is www.becauseitsunny.com. Tickets are on sale now, right now, and we are offering students, veterans, and senior discounts. I invite you to our wonderful show. It's going to be full of music and dancing and comedy. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It is very exciting. All the performers are so excited to see you at the show. Come by. Live at the Hudson. It is a live equity musical in Hollywood on Santa Monica Boulevard at the Hudson Theatre from June 3rd to June 24th. Come and see the show. And thank you so much. We'll be excited to see you there.